It's time to hammer.
No, I gotta really try hard.
Shut it down! Somehow it's the best.
The YumChunks podcast.
YumChunks!
Hello, nerds, and welcome to After the Credits, a YumChunks podcast. I am your host, Sean Davis, and with me tonight are our other hosts. We got Ryan Davis.
Yay.
And Chris Schmidt.
Why do we talk to these nerds?
I don't get it. If we weren't getting paid as much as we were, I would not be doing it. But we are, so I'm here, and we're doing it. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We are going to be talking about Teen Titans Go! To the movies tonight. It's a movie that we saw, so we thought, well...
I had to go to the movies.
We saw this movie,
watch
let's
other
talk
people
about it.
go to the movies.
Yeah, so that's that's a film. Well, yeah.
It's a film. It's a masterpiece. I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything other than that one thought. If you disagree with me, just stop recording right now. This is just me.
And it's a short episode, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. So before we get to that, though, Chris, you're back. What adventures have you gone on?
Oh man, the adventures.
Didn't you go to Hawaii? Did you see Vince's? Did you mirror Vince's adventures?
Hawaii a year ago.
Oh, that's right. I don't know. Why did I think you went 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, what the heck? It's random.
I don't know. Mom and Dad went to
Oh, that's right.
Hawaii.
My parents went to Hawaii.
I mean, I've been busy with work.
Boring.
I know. Video game industry. Nothing's more boring. Nothing's boringer. I've almost done with Persona 5. I started up and pretty far through My Hero Academia since everybody won't shut up about that freaking show.
I thought about starting that. Does that live up to the hype?
Okay. I don't know what hype you were hearing, but people were talking to me about this was the second renaissance for anime or whatever, and I will say it to me is not living up to the hype. However, that being said, it is still a very good anime and show and worth watching.
So why is it not living? So how's it not living up to the hype?
Because people were building it up like it was some great freaking. I mean, to me, a great anime is something like Trigun or Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo, and I know that's cheating because it was from the same director except for the Trigun one, but I don't know.
Well, what's a modern anime you feel that's really, really good?
Darker Than Black was probably the last great one that I really enjoyed.
I haven't heard of that. I haven't watched that one.
Did you ever watch that one, Ryan?
Which one? I don't think so. I'll have to look it up. I don't think so.
Maybe it's my obsession with what I now know to be a hard magic system, but I really love Darker Than Black. But don't get me wrong. You should watch My Hero Academia. It is a really good anime, and it doesn't seem overly long. And it's got pretty high quality animation overall. It's from the guys that did the Full Metal Alchemist anime, so it's got pretty cool fight scenes and such. And it's a cool concept. It's just the creator even said he was mostly influenced by X-Men, and you could totally tell that that's the case because it's a high school about people with mutant powers that are learning.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, right. Sounds cool. Maybe we'll check it out.
But yeah, it's good. No, it's good. It takes for me to be all right, this is actually really good. It took me about halfway through season 2. Everything before that was just kind of run-of-the-fair serialized anime, your Narutos and One Pieces and such. But once you get about halfway through season 2, it really starts to pick up a bit. I mean, I don't think the story is as revolutionary as it pretends to be, but it's still really good.
What about how long is it? What kind of commitment are we talking about?
The first season was 13 episodes. And
Okay.
then the second season, I think, is around 25.
Okay.
There is a third season, but it isn't dubbed yet, and I started it dubbed, and I'll finish it that way because that's how I roll.
All right.
Oh, you're not a real anime fan.
It really comes down to whatever I usually listen to something as first is what I stick to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I haven't watched any anime in a while. I think the last one I watched was that one on that Netflix, Devilman Crybaby. I don't know if you guys
Oh, that
watched
one was pretty good. It was
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's super freaking dark.
insane.
Yeah, it's insane and dark, and just like, all right, I guess that's what happens.
Yep. I think Kay was watching it for a bit too, but she never finished it. She was like, "It's too much."
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. There's some of the most disturbing. Like there's a few things that's super disturbing. But no, anyways, but I'll have to check out My Hero Academia
Yeah, I'm just watching it on Hulu. Hulu's got it.
on the Hulu. All right, so you
That's
heard
cool.
it here. Chris thinks it's the best anime since Cowboy Trigun. Shampoo.
Cowgun.
Cowgun Champloo.
Oh man, I'd watch that show.
What about Ryan? Ryan, what have you been up to?
I've seen some movies and some shows and some things. I don't think I mentioned on the show, but I did end up seeing that Sicario 2, the Reckoning of Sicario. No, I don't. The subtitle is something. Is Day.
The Day of the Soldat.
Yeah, which is weird. Like,
It
but
doesn't make. Why do they?
Why
mix
is
the
it half in
and
English? Yeah, I didn't understand
Yeah.
that.
Like,
Anyway.
why not Dia de los Soldat? Or,
Yeah, right?
Or,
I don't-
Like,
I
Day of the
mean,
Soldier.
they're
Like, what's the
making-
point?
They're making a sequel to Sicario. Obviously, they're jumping the shark.
Yeah, like that. Of all the movies that got a sequel, it's such a weird one to do a sequel on. And if you couldn't tell based on the fact that they did a sequel, they're doing a third one to make it into this weird cinematic universe of I don't
Stupid.
know, like yeah, it wasn't strictly a bad film or anything. I mean, the first one was pretty good, and this one is mostly okay.
Other than the actors, the writers, the director, everybody behind the scenes was different.
Yeah, no, that doesn't surprise me at all. But the acting is good, so I will say that. So besides that, I saw this Netflix movie called Extinction with Michael Pena. Would not
that's right.
recommend. Would not recommend.
Is there a Netflix movie you would recommend?
Yes, this movie called Ibiza. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's fantastic. I read it on Politico, so I would trust that. I also saw Mission Impossible 6. We should watch that. We should. talk
Oh,
about
that's a
that.
good idea.
Oh,
I've also seen that.
Maybe we should do a podcast
Maybe
about
that'll
that, Sean.
spark a conversation.
Yeah. Also, real recommendation here. Sorry to bother you. One of the best movies I've seen all year. Fan freaking tastic.
I
see
do
that.
want to see that, and I do plan on seeing that, and I think we should do an episode on that. But I don't know if we could get
Yeah.
buy-in from anyone else.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can go see it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I mean, not to get you off topic here, but I mean, Aaron's watched it. We could bring him into this.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
the whole
That's
point
true.
is to be easily accessible. So
Yeah.
he was the one that recommended it.
Did
think
he?
so.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I have lots
Yeah.
of friends who've recommended it. So.
Yeah, same here. But anyway, besides that, I went to the Beach House concert last night, and that was also fantastic. So there you have it.
Sing us one of the songs.
And then they go to the beach, and it's gonna be fun.
Man, I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It was pretty good. So there you go. That's what I
cool.
did. Sean, what have you been up to now that you have a car? You can
What's the
you
life
see
of Sean like?
all the movies.
Well, I've actually been pretty busy, and it's a good thing I did get a car. Well, not really a good thing. It is actually a bummer. The check engine light's already freaking on, and God, cars are awful. Why
Yeah,
did I
they
get
are.
a car?
I hate
But
them.
the check engine light's on. Anyways, actually, so this last weekend I was pretty busy. I took part in a 48-hour film festival. That was a lot of fun. That was crazy.
That's cool.
I have a good friend. His name's Jordan, and he has a media, basically, kind of studio. Him and his co-director Matt Glass. You should check them out. They're called Half Cut Tea Media. You should do a search. You could find them. They have some Emmys. They actually are really awesome. They have some films, short films and stuff. Anyways, they were doing a 48-hour film festival, and I helped them out, and it was super fun. It was a lot of work, and it was crazy because you have to make a movie in 48 hours. A short film. It was like 7 minutes, but it was
cool.
super cool, and got to meet a lot of.
Where can we watch your movie?
It's not. I mean, it's not available yet because they literally submitted it yesterday. As of this recording anyway. And so they have to go through all the screening process or the festival committee and all that stuff. So it's not available for another 3 weeks in terms of public consumption. So they will hopefully have a teaser for it. They'll cut a 45-second little trailer teaser. At which point, hopefully, that'll be available. If you really are interested, though, just go to Half Cut T Media or HCT Media, and they'll probably have something posted there as soon as they have something available. So
cool.
How does it compare to the masterpieces that this small company YumChunks put out?
Well, I mean, those are pretty high standards, so I don't want to compare
Yeah,
apples to oranges. I did consistently say that during the production, when we made A Gentle Hike or during filming of A Perfect Present, this is what we did. No, it was super fun.
And they're awesome. That's good to know. We'll do the exact opposite.
Yep. What else? Aside from that, I've actually guest starred on a couple other podcasts. If people want to hear my stupid voice, a non-YumChunks fashion, I was on some good friends podcast. One's called Marvel Star Wars Explorers. They talk about old Star Wars comics from the 1970s and 80s when Star Wars first came out. And they just kind of review the comics. It's really fun. I was on episodes of that. And then I was also on a podcast called Reopening the Wormhole, another good friend of mine. And they basically just review Deep Space Nine episodes in random order. And I was on an episode of that. And that was hilarious. Be warned, though, you probably want to be a hardcore Deep Space Nine fan because it's like a 3-hour episode of us talking about a 45-minute episode of Deep Space Nine.
I would expect a 3-hour anything dissection, I guess, of a hard sci-fi show just to show how hard the nerds are that watch hard sci-fi.
Oh, we
shows.
dissected all that. We definitely weren't just getting drunk and talking about Deep Space Nine and making fun of it or anything. It was definitely a thorough examination. No, it was super fun. But yeah, I've been doing that. And then actually, I just got this game called Chasm. Came out last week. I don't know if you guys have heard.
Oh yeah, I know that game. Yeah.
It's been pretty
fun. I chose
fun.
not to.
I've been kind of following it for years. It's been Kickstarter and been in development for years. It finally came out last week, and it's fun. It's basically procedural Metroidvania. It's pretty vanilla in terms of everything about it. It's solid gameplay, but there's nothing exciting or original about it. And the procedural aspect, the roguelike, where it's randomly generated, it's oh, that's a cool idea, but actually, it doesn't have permadeath, so you don't ever actually experience it unless you want to play through the entire game again. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you start a game and you're just playing the game. There's nothing randomness about it when you're playing through the one time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird, interesting thing. I mean, if I don't know, maybe I'd play through it again. It would be fun knowing that it's a completely different map and stuff. But as it is right now, it just feels like a normal, pixel art Metroidvania throwback, which I'm fine with. It's just not anything revolutionary, but it's still fun.
That's cool. I beat this game recently called Everspace. It was actually a space sim, but it's actually a roguelike in terms of mechanics and stuff. So every time you play through it, as you die, because you just die a bunch, it's like a completely different universe that you're playing through. Yeah. So it was kind of a cool twist on, an old flavor, so it's kind of cool.
That's cool. I'll have to look for that. And yeah, that's about it. I haven't watched anything. I finished the first half of Kimmy Schmidt or whatever the episodes that are available on Kimmy Schmidt. Yeah, and I'm way behind. All of you guys have already finished it, but it's still hilarious, so worth mentioning. Anyways, cool. Well, lots of fun stuff. And we all also killed Vince and Chewie, so
that's right. We did.
I always feel obligated to mention anyone who's not on the show and what we have done with them while they are not on the show.
How did we kill them?
Viewers write in, or listeners write in and tell us how we killed them. Suggest ways we killed
new means of
Vince
murder.
Yes. We're always looking for suggestions. Cool. All right. Well, that was fun. Let's get into the main course, and that is Teen Titans Go to the movies. We'll be getting into spoiler stuff, so if you are interested in watching this film and don't want to spoil, turn it off now, but still give us 5 stars as if you had listened to the whole thing. Anyways, yeah, Teen Titans Go to the movies. I literally walked out of the theater of it like less than an hour ago, so it's still like fresh in my mind.
So fresh off the grill.
It's always fresh in my mind.
You're just having flashbacks of it nonstop.
I am. I also bought the soundtrack, so I've been listening to the music nonstop.
He also has Google Glass, and it's just constantly playing.
It's true.
At work, you're just walking around doing work. And there's Teen Titans
singing the songs while I work.
Well, are they good flashbacks?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. It was a good comedy, solid comedy, lots of good jokes. I mean, obviously there's some childish jokes in there because it is a child's movie. But I thought there was also a lot of really smart meta jokes in it for comic book fans and such, and adults.
Yeah, I agree. I thought there was a good balance between stupid kid jokes that were still kind of like you're embarrassed to laugh at almost, and then some good meta jokes for those that were super nerdy in the audience.
I mean, the biggest one being Stan Lee's cameo, I guess, multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some more subtle jokes in that, but that was.
Well, I wasn't going for subtlety. I was just going for nerdy.
Well, I just mean you don't have to be a big nerd to get that.
I guess.
But yeah, no, that was a good joke. That was very good.
I mean, it's to me, it is crazy that they got Stan Lee. One, because it's crazy that Stan Lee wouldn't be under some stupid contract by Marvel, barring such a situation. Maybe they were like, there's no way he'll say yes to anything like this, so we don't even need to bother. And now they're probably like, oh my god.
I mean, I thought the same thing at first, but then I was thinking about more. I was like, but like, he's not a slave. What do you mean?
Yeah.
He can't be in other things?
Marvel, I don't know if you've read this, but Marvel keeps all their actors on leashes.
Like, if he was a normal actor, it would have been weird that, like, let's say he was just some actor from the MCU. No actors from the MCU could appear in the DC movies.
I mean, I've read that they're not allowed to, unless while they're under contract at Marvel.
I don't know about that. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I just think that, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there are actors that have been in both.
Well, no, that's because it would be after their contract was over or before their contract was started.
I don't know. Maybe.
I'd
have to read. I would have to look at the fine print. But like, what? Like it, maybe if it's like the old studio systems from the 40s or something, 50s, where the actors were contracted with a studio for however many films. Maybe it's something like that. But like, how do you word a contract? Like, does it say the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the contract? Maybe it does. I don't know. It just, the idea of that seems kind of funny to me. Like all these lawyers, and in the fine print, it has to say like, the Guardians. No, you cannot, like, with weird sci-fi terms and mixed in with this legal jargon. No? Right.
Why would it need to be weird sci-fi?
Because they have to reference these things to make sure it's clear what's part of the MCU. No,
they probably just mention like properties and licenses. I don't think they're going to get into, Chris Evans can't fly around space right now.
Well, I don't know. Like that's how it was with the Fox stuff, and Galactus can't appear in any of this.
That is
Marvel
true.
Stuff,
Actually, that's a good point.
Although,
but Galactus isn't a human being. He's not a real person.
Yeah, but there's got to be some contract still drawn up about that, right?
I do actually want to read that legal contract. Galactus may not appear. Like, and I can just imagine like a judge like reading these contracts. Like, what is this? That'd be great.
Anyways, we're getting a little off topic.
Yeah, we are.
Anyways,
we should probably explain what Teen Titans
more
is
on topic
for our unknowledgeable viewers.
Well, this brings up actually a good question I'll get to after. But yeah, Teen Titans, what is it? I mean, it's lots of things, but what is this movie specifically?
Right.
What do you mean?
Are you asking?
Well, I mean, Teen Titans originally was a comic book, just like all of these things started out as a comic book. and then became a cartoon show. I mean, I don't know the full timeline or history, but essentially the movie is a movie version, or of the cartoon.
So in the 2000s, there was that popular Cartoon Network show, Teen Titans, which was based off the comic book, obviously. And from there, it finished its run at like 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. And then, as far as I know, it just ended. And that was it. Maybe it was because it was in danger of being on the chopping block at the point. I don't know. I can't speak to that. But then it had its 5 seasons. It ended. And then, I don't know, they were like, we're desperate for something. Because I remember for a time they tried that Green Lantern CGI show. They tried like The Batman and all these other Batman shows. So they were probably just like, well, what's next? Somebody was like, hey, what if we revitalize this thing that everybody knows from this time period and make it a huge joke?
So anyways, they came up, so they did the film version of what that cartoon was, but now they're actually going to do they're picking up the cartoon again, right?
Yeah, the first after credits or whatever you call them now, is the announcement that there's going to be a season 6, which I have to assume may air on Cartoon Network, but for the most,
well, it said
I
in
imagine
the credits, stay tuned to Cartoon Network, it says Teen Titans will return on Cartoon Network. It says that as a title card. So
yeah, but I have to imagine that the real driving push behind this is the new DC Universe service, because anything that shows on any TV show will probably still end up on that service. So they're probably just trying to bolster the content of that service.
Maybe.
Too.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Well, and in addition to that, if anyone was familiar, I don't know if we mentioned it in our Comic-Con episode, but they are now doing a live action Teen Titans that takes place in I think it takes place in the same universe as the other DC TV shows, right?
No,
it's its own.
No, yeah, it's its own thing. No
okay.
way.
Well, I guess that's interesting. Let's make 5 different DC universes. But all that being said, doesn't actually answer the question who the Teen Titans are. The Teen Titans are basically just teenage superheroes from the DC universe.
Well, I mean, in the case of these guys, the driving force is Robin, obviously, who at this point, his general character arc is the fact that he's kind of fed up with being Batman's sidekick and is trying to break out on his own.
Well, Robin in general is the only one who's familiar enough for the mainstream audience. People are going to recognize.
Right. So I actually think that it was the show in particular that actually brought Cyborg to the limelight, because Cyborg's been part of the Justice League now in most modern incarnations. I actually think it was the Teen Titans show that brought him to that point, though. Like, everybody liked him and his character, even though he doesn't act like that in the comics or anything. But, I feel like that was his real breakout point.
Yeah, I could kind of see that, because I don't think I was that familiar with him until the cartoon show. When I became more like, oh, I guess I know who he is now. And then when they announced that they were doing all the Cyborg stuff in the DCU, cinematic DCU, it was like, oh, okay, I guess he's a character that's popular enough now. But I recognize him at that point, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they don't really go into his origin ever in the show, but his general origin is just the fact that he was in an accident. His father worked at Star Labs and working with like all this weird tech, and it's changed over time, but now it's like a mother box that fuses with him. But before it was just, weird tech that made him a cyborg to save his life and such. So that's the Cyborg story. He used to be a football star. I guess the more interesting story of all those characters is Raven's, because she would be one that most people wouldn't know, but she probably has one of the most interesting stories to tell, which they do tell in the show, the original cartoon show, which is that, her father is Trigon, which is a demon, like a super powerful demon that destroys dimensions and such. And she was born to her mother from a cult because she was bedded by Trigon in this cult, and that gave birth to Raven. And the whole purpose of Raven was to allow Trigon to destroy the Earth, but she's rebelling against that. I feel like we're talking more about the show than the movie, though, now that I think about it.
Sure, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know any of these. None of this is relevant for the movie. So if that's what you're getting at.
Well, they make brief mentions of it, like,
Yeah.
there's conflict,
Yeah.
and then they go back to their quote-unquote origins, right?
Oh yeah. And
So
she's just like, I guess I'll just go destroy
back to my dad
universes with my dad.
Yeah, so, which is,
Beast Boy is like, I'm just gonna go turn into a cat and live in a dumpster.
yeah. Yeah, because Robin's
I like
unifying.
I like Cyborgs is just like, I guess I'm gonna go be a successful football player and end my career early due to concussions and yeah, like this whole kind of doesn't sound as bad at first, but then it gets depressing because it's real.
Some social commentary.
Well, I mean, I mentioned earlier, so that, I mean, I feel like I asked this on a lot of episodes, but I still think it's relevant for this. Who's the audience for this film?
All ages.
It's kids.
That's a cop-out answer, though, right? All ages? It's for everyone. That's not an answer. That's a cop-out.
I mean,
Who's
Teen
the
Titan
audience?
Go is very clearly aimed at kids. I mean, there's no getting around that.
Yeah, so it's a kid's film, definitely. But I guess there's so much, though, that even, I don't know if the plot necessarily, but there's so much, though, that would go way over kids' heads. And I'm not even talking about the jokes, or not the references, I'm also talking about the jokes. Like, there's a lot of hard, deep-cut references that no kid is going to care or know about.
Yeah, but that's what makes these shows cool to everyone nowadays, right? I mean,
I know, that's my point, though. So, cool to everyone, meaning not children.
But no. They're clearly marketing all this stuff to kids. It's, I guess, the parallel to this. Yes, the parallel to this, a perfect example. The parallel to this is Adventure Time. Adventure Time is clearly marketed to kids, but anybody that's watched that show knows this. Like, there's a lot of deep, dark stuff to that show that kids aren't going to really catch on to. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're playing
a little bit
towards, our age group, maybe a little bit younger millennials who have a nostalgia towards animated shows that are more than just Simpsons and Family Guy, which are fine in their own right for comedic purposes, but for shows that are like Adventure Time and Teen Titans and even to a lesser extent the Hanna-Barberas, it allows, it's like, oh yeah, I want to go see this Teen Titans movie because I know it's not going to be like a Disney movie, right? But so it's going to give me the fun superhero aspect that I like, but also still remind me of some childish cartoon stuff.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I just constantly am conflicted with these things where it just feels like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, which is a stupid saying that doesn't make sense. But you get what I'm saying. It's just like it. If you're gonna make a kids movie, make a kids movie. If you're gonna make a kid movie for millennials, make a movie for millennials.
Like, I understand what you're asking for, but the fact of the matter is they found success in so many shows, so many examples in this realm where it's like, make something that's colorful and geared towards kids, but has just the back end is for people who grew up with nostalgia in the 90s and such.
Right. So Sean, what's like your argument against doing both? Because I think Chris is right. I think they found a way to do both, and it's successful, and I enjoy it more.
I guess. Well, I enjoy because it, like you were saying earlier, there's cringeworthy jokes, like
yeah,
right, like as an adult, as a human adult. Like, I am going to this movie, but like...
Yeah, but I don't think that's exactly what makes it a kids' movie. If you subtracted those cringeworthy jokes from the film, I think it's still a kids' movie.
I mean, the plot is pretty basic overall, right?
The plot, I guess the plotting of it, but I don't think those are kids... Like, right, a good kids' movie doesn't mean it has a bad plot or a plot that doesn't make
I'm
sense.
not saying... Because, I mean, I don't even think this has a bad plot by any...
No, I don't... I guess, I mean...
I'm just saying it's got a simple plot, so it's not something that's, like, trying to fool the audience, right? It's trying to be colorful and entertaining for kids. So to really maintain a kid's attention span, you got to be quick and easy to understand.
I suppose. I mean, I guess to me the counter is things like Pixar or a lot of Pixar films like WALL-E or Up, right? You could definitely, those are kids movies, quote unquote, but it has appeal wider than a child audience, but the appeal isn't references that adults will get. It's thematic things and messages and character, right?
So my counter to that, we're completely off topic at this point, which was originally going to be the name of our show, but what Pixar movie do kids love the most?
Cars.
Exactly. What Pixar movie do adults hate the most?
Yeah, I guess Cars. I'm not sure what's your point. What are you at?
Kids are not drawn to Pixar's crazy Wall-E's as much as adults are. Like, you don't go up to a kid and have them like start talking about Wall-E. No, they talk about Cars. Right? So
yeah, I get what you're saying, but I don't think they dislike.
It's not the same thing, because Pixar is for kids in the sense that it's something colorful and kids can easily be pulled into that. But the one that stands out to them the most is the simplest one, right? The one that doesn't try to fool you at all. It's not, like Wall-E, which is, trying to do like this silent ode to silent films almost and such.
I'm not trying to fool anyone, though.
What?
What do you mean? It's not trying
gotcha.
to fool
This
anyone.
movie has messages.
Yeah. Because Pixar has they often put a lot of deeper themes, but then they focus on trying to get those themes across, right?
Yeah.
But it's the ones that don't really follow those, or those themes are more on the surface, that the kids are drawn to, hence Cars. Kids love Cars. They don't care about Wall-E. I have never once heard a kid bring up Wall-E in any conversation ever. I honestly think kids do not like Wall-E.
Well, all the children I have in my basement, they constantly talk about Wall-E. So,
but that's because you force them to, Sean. That's not fair.
So I don't think it's a good example to compare the two, because Pixar is after a completely different market at this point.
I don't
I mean,
know.
I see your point. Like,
different market?
I don't think it's a different market. I think it's the same market. But I mean, I see your point, Sean. I guess, I'm
saying all this with the understanding that I enjoyed the film. That's fine.
Right.
I'm just trying to get at something more beyond just I liked it, though.
Right. So I think what your argument is that, I mean, Pixar and possibly other studios have proven that children's movies can have deeper messages and don't have to be constrained to the normal, say, toilet humor of children's movies, I guess.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I don't know. I guess I just but I just feel like if every film was every kid's film was as good as a Pixar film, like I still feel like I'd want to at some point still watch a stupid movie.
Yeah, I guess that
I realize what I just said and it's terrible, but I don't know.
I totally get it, and they even kind of make a kind of joke about it at the end, like, this isn't that type of movie.
Right.
But I guess what I'm saying is just like, then don't make it that type of movie. Have it be a stupid kids fart joke, dumb, silly, and it is that, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's so much of it that only works as a snarky 30-something, get it, meta jokes. Like, to me, that's where I guess, and I get I like that those laugh at those, and I love it, and I think it's hilarious. It's great. I guess it's semi-hypocritical. I'm not criticizing. It's not a problem.
It's for the parents, I guess, right? Like, they're
yes,
to at least it's like the people in the writers' room are like, we throw out all this stupid kid stuff. All right, we'll throw a bone to the adults. Sorry, adults, you had to sit through this.
I mean, because the people that write these shows are very invested in that universe too. Like,
I guess if you
people
go back
that
to
write Teen Titans Go love DC Comics and love all that stuff, and they put in a lot of snarky stuff because they're like, somebody will catch this, and it'll be like a little inside joke, right? And people have been doing that since the beginning of time.
Well, no, that's what I was going to say, though. I think there's a certain, like, if you go to, like, DreamWorks movies and stuff, animated movies, like, we notoriously not we hate them, but, they're notoriously derided for throwing in the pop culture reference of the day. So, right? and this isn't that. I think this is for sure better and smarter than that. But if
Yeah.
you go back, like even to if you go back and watch Snow White, there's no meta jokes to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, it's a different time and place. Animation was like, right? Like, it was an authentic children's movie. Like, why can't it just be an authentic children's movie?
Well, my counter to that is, once again, where you find success. I mean, you've seen the trailer for Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yeah, that's where I'm just like, everything is
That
so...
looks.
I mean, I love the first one, and I'm hoping
Yeah.
for the second one. I think it'll be funny, but it's just like, okay, Disney owns everything. We get it, and they're making jokes about themselves, so it's okay. But there's it just is like, what are we laughing at anymore? What are we laughing at?
Sean, I didn't laugh at the trailer, if that matters.
Well,
no, but
you're the ones
see your
creating it, Disney, and then you're making fun of yourself. So I don't know. I mean, that's even further off topic than specifically Teen Titans, but I guess it just all contributes to this, it's the elongation of time. We're no longer children and adults. We're all, once we hit 12, we're just 12 until we're 60. And it's the same. That's what it is. And I'm saying it very condescendingly, but I am that too. So it's judgmental of me to say that, but I don't know. It's just, I'm constantly struggling with this, I'm watching the same thing as a 12-year-old and enjoying that. And maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe
problem.
that's nothing wrong with that. Maybe that's fine.
Then the solution is go see Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah, exactly. That's
And we should
the
review
Chris,
that.
I'm just saying we need to do an episode on Sorry to Bother You, and after
Balance
this to
out
counter it,
Teen
to
Titans.
take,
Sean is
to cleanse
literally
the palate.
upset that kids can enjoy the same thing as he does, so it makes him feel.
No,
like
they're
he's
not
gone
enjoying
away.
the same thing, though. I'm laughing at something different than the children are. That's my point.
I laughed at a lot of the stuff the children laughed at.
Okay, well, let's get into some of that stuff, because after all that tirade, I did actually like this film a lot, and it was really funny, and there was good stuff in it.
I mean, it was kind of like the Deadpool of kind of DC's universe, even though it's not actually connected in any sense, right? It's just it's beating down the tropes, kind of.
Yeah, I would compare it to Deadpool, and not just because they mentioned Deadpool a lot in the film, and the villain was Deadpool.
Look at the camera and say something funny.
Yeah.
Or offensive.
I didn't realize one thing that was kind of surprised. I don't know. Maybe when someone mentioned this, but I didn't realize it was going to be a musical. So that was actually kind of fun in a surprising way.
I
this
enjoyed
is a
that a lot.
musical.
That show
cool.
is just full of songs.
is
They're
it?
constantly breaking out into song in the Teen Titans Go show.
Some of my favorite sequences. I love the sequence where they just went back in time to stop all.
Yeah, that whole thing was fantastic.
That was maybe my favorite moment.
And you mentioned the
Yeah.
music. I thought that song, the
yeah.
EDM song in the on Krypton was friggin'
yeah.
hilarious, or just really, really fun. Yeah.
I loved one that they included a scene with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
Just push
Yeah.
them right back to the sewer.
Well, what was so funny about that whole time travel sequence is that they're essentially responsible for a bunch of murders now.
Well, that was the
Very
when they
different
went
way.
back in.
The way
they went back in time
corrected
to
Batman's was
fix-
so dark. That's
Yeah.
so dark because then they are now responsible for murdering his parents.
Yeah, and what's funny is that, or what I thought they could have done is, so they established Robin's past, or his origin story, so to speak, but they didn't go back to correct his own, or, you know what I mean?
His own parents dying. They didn't really mention it. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and so then
he
I was
wants to
like,
stay a hero.
no, I know, but it's just funny that, not funny, but it just, if you consider the fact that, he can save people's parents to stop them from having a tragic life. He didn't even do that for himself. You know what I mean?
They always
I want my
trivialize
parents
their
dead. I
own
don't want to save my
lives.
parents. What? Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of. They should have at least made a little wink at it or something. Anyway. And I like the Michael Bolton song was hilarious.
Yeah,
That was really good.
Say that too.
Yeah.
Upbeat, inspirational song about life.
Yeah, with the Lisa Frank art all over the place.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Also, I love that we finally got to see Nicolas Cage play Superman.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I felt like that was definitely a little wink to the adults in the audience. Sorry, Sean.
Oh yeah. There's that, and then also his son Kal-El. Yes, he named his son Kal-El in real life. was the
Right.
voice of young Batman in the
Yeah.
the
No, it was
past,
young. Oh yeah, it was young. Yeah, it was young Bruce Wayne.
when they went back and little baby Bruce Wayne when they
Oh, is that
saved him.
right?
And then,
That's pretty fun. I didn't know that. That's good.
And I love his catchphrase or like his
Oh yeah, crack
an egg on
it.
That was pretty good.
There was a lot of just like weird non sequitur humor too. That was really funny. And I love his dream sequence. It was just like out of nowhere. I like, what is happening? Like the Lion King parody, like dream.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh,
I
that
was
reminds.
laughing.
Yeah, that was really really funny. Actually, one of the things I really liked about the film is that they changed animation styles
Yeah, actually,
many
I like that
times,
a lot.
and I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really cool. I think it kind of fits in with this movie because it wasn't going to be like a serious kind of movie. They got to play around and have some stupid fun like that. Whereas, you can't really do that in a film that doesn't break the fourth wall. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and it was kind of. I would say like actually the first like. It was only a 90-minute film. I felt like the kind of end, it didn't drag, but I felt like there was a little bit at the lull. But like they did a really good job for the first hour for sure of just constantly making it funny and entertaining and visually striking and different. And like I was just like the whole time surprisingly entertained for most of it. Especially for it was a kids movie. So
I really liked how they constantly tried to break out into their own theme song. Every time it's like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Which is the theme of the movie, right? Who are
Yeah.
you? So every time that would happen, they would attempt to break out into their song. It happened so much. It was so
and things like there. I mean, it was fun to spot. Like even like the first shot, I feel like just because it's like the city, and there's a whole bunch of just like little background, little nods to everything.
Yeah.
And then, like, even the crowd scenes with all of the heroes, like, catching all the random heroes and stuff. And I don't even know all the characters. It reminded me a little bit of, like, the Batman Arkham games, where it's just, like, all these references that I don't get every single thing. But, like, the Challengers of the Unknown, I don't know who they are, but I assume they're an actual group in the DC
yes,
universe.
they're an actual group.
Oh, are they? I thought they made them up actually.
No, they're an actual group.
That's pretty funny. That was
That
good.
plays into the actual fact that they're so unknown.
Yeah.
And the voice of the main Challenger guy, he sounded like Will Ferrell, but I didn't see him in the credits, so I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was Will Ferrell.
I love the running joke with Raven, where she's just like, portals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the solution to everything. Portals.
I think DC has that problem where they're like, oh, we'll make a super team. Whoops, we accidentally put a hero on the team who is just OP. It's like, Superman, do you really need the other members of the Justice League? Like Raven, do you really need Robin?
Yeah. It was actually kind of funny to see all the cameos. Like,
Yeah.
I was looking through it. Like, Will Wheaton was in it, I guess,
Yep.
for some reason.
Yeah.
That was
The Shia LaBeouf joke.
Oh, yeah.
That was random.
Or Shia LaBeouf.
I know, I felt like that was undeserved. Maybe like 5 years ago it would have been okay.
That's again, too, like, do kids hate Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah, like, do they know who he is?
I guess. Well, now they'll hate him. Now, even if they're breeding hatred for Shia LaBeouf at a young age. If you're going to hate Shia LaBeouf, it should come organically. Nurture over nature. And yeah, just things like Jimmy Kimmel was in there and Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
Atom. That was funny.
Yeah.
I loved all the different movies that they were making, all the different
Yeah.
movie posters.
Actually, I meant to bring this up earlier, but it's funny how the film opens with the first kind of, act is all about all the other superheroes being made, and they basically they just greenlit all these superhero films, and they kind of have like this montage of all the logos on screen, and here are all the super films that are going to be made. And did you guys see the announcement from DC or Warner Brothers? I don't know if it was today or yesterday or a couple days ago about their line of basically the DCU in the next couple years.
No.
Basically, they announced all the films that are coming out in the next 2 to 3 years in the DC universe, and it is obviously this movie came out before that announcement, but it's spot on parody of actual reality, because it is just let me see if we could find an article or something like that. But it's just like all the obvious ones, like so whatever, Shazam and Aquaman,
random hodgepodge. Considering
they're
trying to make
okay,
1,000 Gotham
like,
City stories.
There's like the Joker origin movie, and then there's another Joker Batman movie, and then another Joker movie, and then the Harley Quinn movie, and then the Gotham Sirens movie, and then like Lobo movie, and it's like who is like they're just like we're just grabbing at anything now. It was just I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny and just really just the timing of what they were doing in the movie with it's exactly reality of them just going, yep,
right.
We're just throwing everything up there. Supergirl is going to get her own movie. I don't know, whatever else. Let me see. Oh, I found the list. Okay, let's see. Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman, obviously, Joker origin movie, Cyborg movie, Green Lantern Corps. Like some of these are obvious. Suicide Squad 2. I don't know how that's happening, but Flashpoint, Batgirl, Nightwing, Justice League Dark, Deathstroke, Black Adam, Lobo, like New Gods. I only vaguely am aware of who some of these things are. Harley Quinn and Joker, rom-com movie. Another Joker movie with Jared Leto. So anyways. They're all happening.
They're bound to fail because all of these are set in Gotham. Which is not good.
But yeah, just poking fun of just like at the industry too, just in general is always kind of fun.
Yeah.
As much as it is kind of a product of that, it's still it's nice to stab the people who are feeding you. I don't know. That's not the saying, but you know.
Well, aren't we feeding them?
Well, I just meant like the studios that are giving him the green light to make them. I assume they're kind of the same thing that greenlit a Teen Titans movie.
Oh, right.
A theatrical,
I see
you know
what
I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Well, that's the movie. I'm not sure, but overall, I enjoyed it. It was funny. But I think
it kind of plays into like a bigger. The themes of the story are not, or the story itself is not very deep, but the themes, like you kind of get what it's going for, right? It's like the concept of a hero, right? They're vain and obsessed with getting a movie and being famous and being recognized over just being heroes.
Yeah, no, I think it worked on some good levels. It wasn't incredibly deep, but it was probably better than a lot of cash grab children's films. Like, the funny thing is that, like, as much as I was obviously going off and kind of being critical early on, like, watching trailers for a kids' film is awful. Seems like there's going to be so many awful children's movies coming out.
Well,
oh god, these look so bad.
Well, I'm kind of curious because I showed up 15 minutes late for the movie and still made it on time. That says how many trailers there were. So I didn't even see a single one. But other than the Grinch movie, maybe?
I actually didn't see a Grinch trailer. I was expecting to, but I don't know. Whatever. Maybe that one's fine.
How to Train Your Dragon 3.
I didn't see that.
I saw Ralph 2.
I did not see that either. Well, they were showing me like just the D-list trailers.
There was one with Channing Tatum, Smallfoot.
Yes, that's the one. Smallfoot. That's the epitome of just like the worst cynical Hollywood cash grab. It reminds me of that Norma the North. I never saw it, but do you remember a trailer for that movie? It's like some polar bear in New York City or something.
Oh yeah,
came out last year. Like the trailer, it just looks so bad. It just looks like the most hackneyed writing. Just like. Kick out a script, attach a couple recognizable names, and he's a Bigfoot, and look at this human, he's a Littlefoot. Yeti or not, here I come. Like
God.
Just like.
I bet you someone came up with that pun before they even had an idea for the. It's like,
yes.
We got to make a movie around that sentence.
I don't know. Maybe the movie would be great, but just like things like those types, level of. Just and then of course that the worst is that because during the trailer then they start playing "Don't Stop Believing" by the Journeys. I was like, oh my, are you kidding me? Like even 10 years ago that would be kind of like pushing it as cliche, but now in 2018 you're still like, don't stop believe. Like in the world of the North, when a Yeti jumps out of his comfort zone. I mean, even they don't say that, like, and then they cue the music and So, anyways.
Oh, also, we didn't talk about Slade at all, which there's good and bad to it. One, I thought it was a really weird choice to put Will Arnett as the voice of Slade, considering he is known to kids far and wide as the voice of Lego Batman.
I will say on a side note that I thought it was hilarious that Batman himself never talked. He was some weird grunting
why didn't he ever speak? And he would smile this super weird cheesy smile.
I just thought that was
Batman
a hilarious
movie?
Yeah, it was a hilarious version of Batman. I like that. But yeah, I mean, I like Will Arnett a lot, and I guess he was a producer on the film, so he maybe just kind of had choice of whatever. And I'm not super familiar with Slade anyway, so I was like, all right, whatever. I guess he's a bad guy.
Someone never watched the original show.
I'm not ashamed of that necessarily. I have seen probably episodes, but
why did they ever refer to him as his villain name?
Because it's a kids movie, and there's just something about using the word death with kids.
Oh, is he Deathstroke?
Yeah, he's Deathstroke. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I thought, but I was like, but they kept calling him Slade, so I guess he's a different character. Okay, no, I know who Deathstroke is, but yeah, that is weird.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing in the original show, right? They never actually call him Deathstroke; they always call him Slade.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
Wasn't this rated PG-13 though?
No, it was rated PG for sure.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I did love his powers of mind control. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was good.
That was pretty good.
There was some good running jokes throughout the film that just kind of kept you like, oh yeah, good, they brought that back. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked when he tried to do the something on Robin's shirt, and just for one cut, Robin lost his shirt randomly.
That was funny.
The very next cut, it was back on him.
That was very funny. That was a good. I laughed a lot at that one. Yeah. Yeah, I would recommend it. It was a funny time.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good time, but I can't say I'll just wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone and everyone.
No, yeah.
I would recommend it for kids, because we know how many kids listen to after the credits.
Yep.
Kids, go watch this movie. And then any nerds, which I assume actually anybody that would listen to this is probably a nerd of some level, because
I mean, obviously, if you're our friends, you'll probably enjoy it. If you're our friends and or family, you'd probably enjoy it on some level. And so, yeah, go watch it.
Yeah.
But I just if you're someone who goes to the film and, I loved, The Post last year, and I loved, they're not going to get anything out of this movie, is my point, right?
No, they're not. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they will.
Did
but
you see
The
Post last year?
Yeah, I saw it.
Well, you saw Teen Titans. So.
That's true.
Got him.
Well, hoisted by my own petard.
I would probably say this is my second favorite comic book movie of the year. Take that.
Sure. Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
let's see. I'd say second or third.
I actually, is it the contest between Deadpool or what?
I would say, the other ones would be Black Panther, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Avengers 4, Deadpool, and this, and I think I'm missing something, but those 5 at least.
Yeah, definitely top 5.
Well, good. See, quality.
Yeah.
So that's a wholehearted
resounding shrug.
Endorsement? Question mark from after the credits. Well, okay. Let's put it this way: if you could only see one movie a month, would you make this movie that movie?
Yes.
No.
I would also say no.
Because you guys are heartless.
Well, right now there's a lot of good movies out, so it's a tough month.
Yeah, that's true. It's weird though, because usually August is a pretty bad month. But I think there's a lot of kind of weird, indie kind of less mainstream films.
I think really next on my list is 8th Grade. Bo.
Yeah, I really want to see that. I've heard really good things about that too.
Yeah, I think that's my next one. Sorry, Teen Titans, you're not going to get watched again by me.
But how many of those movies have Slade?
Maybe Will Arnett shows up. I could see
Yeah,
him showing up in
sure.
8th grade or something.
Yeah.
No, he's totally not in anything.
Okay.
Chris, you're moonlighting as Will Arnett's agent, aren't you?
I am.
what he's in. Cool. All right. Well, any final thoughts, Chris? Any final, like wholehearted love letters to this movie?
I mean, I really liked it, and I think though my favorite moment, what actually gave me goosebumps, was as a fan. I grew up with the original show, so when it did cut to that, I was just like, I was like goosebumps. I was just like, oh my god, what? I was completely and I think it's really weird, or not. I think it's weird in a cool way that they sat there and that was the announcement, right? It was after Teen Titans Go to the movies, and then they've actually not said anything about it since. That is it. Normally it would be like, okay, everybody, now we talk about it, blah, 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 right? No, this is like, hey, this is something for the people that go watch the movie. They're probably the ones that watch the original show. I'm impressed in kind of a good way that there's not just like a over budgeted marketing push on this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That's interesting. That's kind of cool. Cool. All right. Well, let us know what you thought. If you watched this film and loved it or hated it or in between, let us know. Leave some comments on some random message board. Just go to a random YouTube video and leave a comment about our video on that video.
Also, let us know if you'd like to hear us talk about Mission Impossible 6, Mission Impossibler.
It's Mission Impossibilist, Chris.
Oh, sorry. That was the previous one. My bad.
Until then, subscribe and like and listen to us on all the places, iTunes and Google Play and RSS feed and our website at afterthecredits.podiant.co. And I think that's an emailing us. Sure, do all those things. But until next time, thanks for staying after the credits. And
Teen Titans Go!
Bye, everyone.
Bye.